It is time for Money, Power, Politics, my favorite part of the show. Well, tomorrow, the Federal Reserve is expected to make its third straight cut in interest rates. Have a party, a sign that they feel good about where the economy is headed. But the markets might be sending a different message. You might not be paying attention, but I am. They seem to think, I don't know, maybe inflation is coming back. When the 10-year Treasury yield keeps going up, that means the bond market could be telling us they're a little worried. And the Dow, well, it finished lower for the 9th straight day. That is the longest streak since 1978. So let's break it down with two of my favorite guys. David Gura, correspondent for Bloomberg and host of the Big Take podcast, is here. And Ron Insana, CNBC senior analyst and the CEO of iFi AI. Ron.
Yes, ma'am.
Without getting too wonky, there are some conflicting signals here, right? Because some would tell you, oh, my God, the stock market's on a tear. We're going to have no regulation. We're going to have tax cuts. We're getting a Fed rate cut. Party, party, party. But the market isn't showing us that.
Well, the bond market's not. NASDAQ's coming off an all-time high yesterday, fell a little bit today. But yeah, you're right.
And the bond market is the real, moderator that says, here's what's happening in the world. I'm your daddy.
That is exactly what the bond market said.
Yes.
Yeah. Call the bond market daddy. The yield went from about 4.19% on the 10-year note just a little more than a week ago to 4.4 today. And the economy just looks a little better than anybody thought. Retail sales are stronger than expected. The Atlanta Federal Reserve says the economy is growing better than 3% in the fourth quarter. Inflation expectations are ticking up just a little bit. And if President Trump, the incoming president, puts through all of his programs, many believe the deficit will increase and the national debt will increase notably. So there's upward pressure on yields, and that leads a lot of people to believe that this will be the last Fed cut for a while.
CEOs, though, they seem to be all in for Trump, or they're all in for visiting him, at least. And I want to share a bit of what Donald Trump about all these CEO meetings he's been having. Watch this.
The first term, everybody was fighting me. In this term, everybody wants to be my friend. I don't know. My personality changed or something.
Okay. This is the question I have had all week. When Donald Trump won in 2016, CEOs were walking a tightrope, right? Whether they could go to the White House and see him, whether they could join a business council. And if they did, they faced backlash from their employees, boycotts from their customers. Now, the same person is in office who basically has the same game plan, and they're cartwheeling down to Mar-a-Lago with no fears of getting any pushback. What changed?
I think that they've seen sort of how things played out during that first term. Yes, they were nervous about the uncertainty of what he was going to be like governing. But what they know now that they didn't know then was how he would react if you did something he didn't like or your company did something that he didn't like.
And so they want to
Disney style. They want to make sure that they're in his graces. Maybe they praise the chocolate cake at Mar-a-Lago. They go show him some deference, and it's going to give him the impression that they are genuflecting in some way. They are supportive of what he's doing. And that seems to be like the unifying theme of what we hear from all these CEOs. They know what they're getting. They want what's best for America. They think that it's time to sort of rally behind him as the next leader of the country. But it comes from this place of knowing the downsides of crossing him in the past and how he reacts then.
And defamation suits and the like, lawsuits, hassles. When you're going to get deregulation and tax cuts prospectively, why take on the guy that's going to give you the things that you actually want? More merger and acquisition activity, a lot less regulation. Why go through what some of these companies have gone through, either with Ron DeSantis or
But why are they going
to
face no backlash, right? The big listen, they wanted the deregulation. They wanted the tax cuts last time. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
The concerns they had is that their own employees, right, their customers weren't going to be happy with it. And again, Donald Trump won fair and square, but he also won back in 2016. Why do they have no fear? Is there going to be no uprising? They're not afraid of what their employees will feel?
There's probably some fatigue among the employees. I mean, I think a lot of people don't have the fight left in them. That's my guess. I don't think there's a scientific answer, but I think that a lot of people don't want the hassles. They want to believe maybe that we're not going down a road that some people have suggested we might be going down. And so, denial's not just a river in Egypt, and maybe that's where we are at the moment.
All right, new topic, something voters are going to like. We mentioned Lina Khan. People complain about Lina Khan, but the FTC did announce something people will like, a new rule that is requiring hotels and concert venues to now show all the hidden junk fees up front. People say, oh, this is just a small thing, but this seems like a big thing because when you think about things that are just annoying people and grinding on them every day, these are two good examples.
Absolutely, and maybe this is the last thing that Lina Khan does before she leaves the FTC, but I was struck by the way the FTC sort of calculated the cost of this to the American consumer.
Did
and
you see that number?
It's huge, and
What's
it's
the
in
number?
time, like 53, no, sorry.
I saw a smaller number, but I saw 11 billion over
11
10
billion,
years.
but it's like how many hours you sit having to
Yeah.
do all of this and sort through this, and that's the translation to the amount of money. And so, look, it is, again, her last stand. We have seen courts and members of Congress complain about efforts to cut these junk fees in the past. Of course, that could happen once again, but I think you're absolutely right. If you go to buy a concert ticket or you try to get a hotel and you see that there's some sort of recreation fee
Okay, can I just say, nothing is more annoying to me when I'm staying at a hotel and then I see there is a resort. Here's
The
the
resort
pool
fee.
right
Yes.
downstairs. We're going to charge you an extra $100 to use it.
And depending on where you're staying in the country, too, there's an 18%, hospitality tax as well that goes to the state. So
Why has it been so difficult to get these junk fees, to do away with these junk fees?
I think
Lobbying?
there are other larger issues that the administration's been preoccupied with over the last 4 years, like a pandemic and
Yes, that is
infrastructure
true.
build out and things like that. So I think, and merger and acquisition activity that they've, taken a much harder line on than any other administration in recent memory. So they finally are getting around to this after a lot of pressure. It is something that truly annoys people and costs
They
them
hate
money.
it. And they wrote tons
hate
of complaints. I mean, there was a comment period, of course, as there is for all these rules, and
It
there
took
were
a couple of
thousands.
years,
It took years. Thousands of people wrote in.
Okay, well, then maybe he certainly wasn't listening to me, but today President Biden actually called for a ban on congressional stock trading, something I have spent an exhaustive amount of time talking about. Great. But what does that actually do with 5 weeks to go?
Didn't they pass a law just like this and roll it back just a few years ago?
Well, and they've been kind of in committee. They've been floating this, and there are lawmakers
Abigail
who support
Spanberger's
it.
had a plan for this for years.
My guess is it's not going to happen.
What I did find interesting about this interview is that Joe Biden has never done this. He hasn't traded in stocks. He said through his whole career in Congress, he was somebody who had to sort of use his salary to pay for his bills, and he couldn't look people in the eye and say, look, I'm taking advantage of my position to make investments like this. As you know, plenty of members of Congress have been doing that, and it is extraordinary how much money lawmakers make once they're in the U.S. Capitol.
On both sides of the aisle.
Yes,
But no
100%.
chance anything's going to happen here.
I mean, I feel so dispirited because, again, this legislation has been floating around in committees for so long and nothing's happened. So great that he says this now, again, with 5 weeks left in his term, but I don't see the catalyst that's going to get it.
I mean, it
into
should
law
be
anytime
illegal
soon.
for anyone, whether it's an elected representative of the United States government or people who actually get prosecuted out in the real world. I mean, I don't know why there's a difference, particularly when they have access to what we call material non-public information in various committees, whether it's a drug that's going to get approved to vaccine during the pandemic or something like that. You go out and buy Pfizer or Moderna right before it happens. Should be illegal.